In a quiet corner of the bustling city, where the glass towers of the rich stood tall and proud, life for some people moved very differently. Hidden behind the grandeur of luxury cars and high-rise apartments, there was a small government hospital where a young, soft-spoken nurse named Amina worked tirelessly. Her uniform may have been plain, and her lunchbox meager, but her heart was full of compassion and empathy for every patient she cared for. Amina had grown up with very little. Raised in an orphanage, she had no family, no wealth, and only one possession she held dear, an old, fabric doll that had been her only comfort through her lonely childhood. Despite her struggles, Amina never allowed hardship to dull her spirit. She chose to care for others with unwavering kindness, often volunteering for night shifts, sitting by the side of scared patients, and sometimes even using her own money to buy medicines for those who couldn't afford them. To her, healing was more than just a job, it was her life's purpose. She found joy in small victories, a child's smile, a mother's relief, an old man's gratitude. Her world was not made of riches, but of moments filled with humanity. One rainy evening, as lightning danced across the sky and the hospital filled with the usual sounds of beeping machines and hurried footsteps, a little girl was rushed into the emergency room. She was pale, weak, and shivering from the cold. The doctors worked quickly, diagnosing her with pneumonia, and moved her to the pediatric ward. No one accompanied her. There was no family member holding her hand. Amina, as usual, was there. She gently tucked the girl in, wiped her damp forehead, and asked for her name. "My name is Zoya," the girl whispered. "I want my papa." Amina smiled gently, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. "Your papa will come. For now, you are safe." As the hours passed, Amina stayed by Zoya's side. The child cried softly, asking for her father again and again, but no one came. Amina searched the records and found the emergency contact, a number that went straight to voicemail. Zoya's condition was improving, but her loneliness was evident. Amina knew that healing required more than medicine. Children needed love, comfort, and hope. And so, despite all her memories and the sentimental value attached to it, Amina made a decision that would forever change her life. She went home after her shift, opened the small wooden box under her bed, and took out the old doll. Its threads were worn, its dress faded, but to Amina, it was her most precious possession. She gently washed it, sewed a torn arm, and cleaned it with care. The next morning, she placed it beside Zoya. "This doll was my best friend when I was your age," Amina told her. "She protected me when I was scared. Now, I want her to protect you." Zoya's eyes lit up with a spark of wonder and joy. She hugged the doll tightly, for the first time in days smiling with the innocence of a child. That moment, though small in the eyes of the world, was one of the greatest acts of love and selflessness Amina had ever given. Unbeknownst to Amina, someone had finally arrived at the hospital that morning, a man in an expensive suit, eyes weary, face filled with worry. His name was Mr. Farid Hassan, a billionaire CEO and one of the most powerful entrepreneurs in the region. But none of that mattered now. He had just found out his daughter had been admitted due to a miscommunication while he was out of the country. When he rushed to the hospital, his heart sank seeing her tiny frame on the hospital bed. "Zoya," he cried out. Zoya beamed. "Papa, look what the nice nurse gave me." Amina stood silently in the corner, unsure whether to stay or quietly leave. Farid turned to her, eyes filled with gratitude. "You've taken care of her?" Amina nodded politely. "Yes, sir. She's a brave girl." Farid's eyes fell on the old doll in Zoya's arms, and then on Amina's worn shoes, her tired face, and her gentle smile. Something in his heart shifted. This woman, this unknown nurse, had given his daughter more comfort than any amount of money ever could. He asked for her name and thanked her sincerely before taking Zoya home, but the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, as Amina continued her shifts in the hospital, a man in a suit entered the ward with a group of people. He approached her with a warmth that surprised everyone. "You might not remember me clearly, Nurse Amina. But I remember you. My name is Farid Hassan. You took care of my daughter, Zoya." Amina nodded, taken aback. "Yes, sir. I'm glad she's doing well." He smiled. "She still sleeps with that doll every night. She says it reminds her that angels are real." Tears welled up in Amina's eyes. She hadn't realized the impact of her small act of kindness. "I came here today," Farid continued, "not just to thank you, but to offer you something. My company has a health foundation, and we're building a new pediatric hospital. I want you to lead its nursing team. And if you're willing, we'd also like to sponsor your further studies." Amina was stunned. She had never dreamed of such an opportunity. Her hands trembled as she tried to reply, but words failed her. She could only nod through tears, overwhelmed by the kindness returning to her 100-fold. The story of Nurse Amina spread far and wide. Not because she sought attention or reward, but because in a world obsessed with wealth, someone had dared to give without expecting anything in return. And that simple gesture, a doll from a poor nurse to a sick little girl, had unknowingly touched the heart of a millionaire. In time, Amina became a role model, a symbol of humility, compassion, and the power of giving. The new hospital she led became known for its incredible staff and family-centered care, and under her leadership, hundreds of children received not only treatment but love and comfort too. As for Zoya, she grew up with a deep sense of empathy, inspired by the nurse who gave her a piece of her own heart when she needed it the most. And that old doll, it was kept safely on her bed for years, a reminder that the greatest gifts are not bought with money but given with love. Years later, at a global healthcare conference, Amina stood on stage receiving an award for humanitarian service. She held the award in her hand, but in her heart, she still remembered the moment she parted with her only doll, not knowing that in doing so, she would gain something far greater, a new purpose, a new family, and a new beginning. This story reminds us that acts of true kindness never go unnoticed. Even the smallest gesture, when done with love, has the power to transform lives in ways we can't imagine. In a world filled with noise, power, and competition, sometimes it is the quietest voices, the humblest hearts, and the simplest acts that speak the loudest. And so, through the journey of a poor nurse and a lonely little girl, we learn one timeless truth: love given freely always finds its way back.